Warning, the following may upset liberals who don't want voters to know the truth about Kamala Harris.
If you ever wondered how Joe Biden could get the border so screwed up, remember, he had help. Here's Biden appointing Kamala Harris to be his border czar to deal with illegal immigration. And here are a record number of illegal immigrants, 10 million and counting, flooding over the border after Harris was put in charge of stopping illegal immigration. To be fair, Harris got off to a rough start by ignoring the border.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
I don't know if you could tell from that attack ad, but Vice President Harris laughs. And that's the telltale sign of a maniac. She laughs and she didn't visit the border. Remember that whole narrative of Kamala Harris isn't going to the border that the right just created out of thin air? And then Lester Holt was like, oh, let's ask her this question. She was in Guatemala and literally said, do not come to a bunch of like asylum seeking migrants. Like they're arguably one of the worst moments in her vice presidential legacy so far. But anyway, I digress. These are the attack ads. They're coming. There's gonna be more. They're obviously always obsessed with her laugh. And here is another one of those.
She wants to ban plastic straws. I love my plastic straw. I hate those paper straws.
She had disastrous staff turnover as vice president. I check it on the daily. Her public schedule, gentlemen, rarely has anything on it or one or two things on it. She does not speak well. She does not work hard.
All right, so Kellyanne, let me ask you.
And she should not be the standard bearer for the party.
Here's just one reason that voters seem to detest Kamala Harris. You decide. Yes, you're giggling vice president.
I call her laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy. You can tell a lot by her laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts. She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy.
Oh, Trump's so hard up for Nancy. But there you have it, Jordan. She's laughs and she doesn't work hard. And I guess that's how you get to be like a two-term DA of San Francisco and then the Attorney General of California for 7 years and then get elected to the US Senate is when you just don't work hard. Honestly, I've been waiting to be elected to the Senate for a really long time. I'm just waiting for the knock on my door. Obviously I'm on my couch and then someone knocks on the door and is like, you're a senator. And I'm like, I must be Kamala Harris, clearly.
The video will continue in just a moment, but first I have a message for you. TYT needs your help. Membership is vital to survival, so please go to tyt.com/team and become a member today.
And then Matt Walsh giving us what we were all waiting for this entire time, what we saw coming out when people were starting to maybe talk about Vice President Harris stepping into Biden's shoes, tweeting a poetic way to end this year of reckoning with the madness of DEI. It concludes with a DEI vice president likely becoming the nominee despite not receiving a single vote. Very fitting that the first Black female presidential nominee was handed the job and didn't earn it. And then maybe even more unhinged and disrespectful, Sebastian Gorka just tweeting this to some other cretin who tweeted, you couldn't write a better finale to the last 8 years than a demented president resigning and handing over the candidacy to someone who was picked because she had, and I apologize for this, a vagina of color. I cannot swear on this show, Jordan, and I want to so hard. I want to free bleed all over that guy, all right? Speaking of vaginas of color, let's go. But this is the level of sexism, of racism. It's the kind of stuff that we're gonna be hearing a lot. And it's also the kind of stuff that I think we should stand up against, while I think, as you mentioned earlier, rightfully critiquing and pressuring Kamala Harris on the things that we wanna pressure her on, but also, in my opinion, focusing on defeating goddamn Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's look at the border czar comments, because I think that's going to be a big talking point in the election. Think about that. I need you all to actually think about her in her role as vice president and what she could actually do in that role on immigration. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She can't issue executive orders as vice president. That's Biden. And legislation, they tried it in Congress. They had James Langford of Oklahoma write the bill, a very harsh bill, and Republicans still killed it. They don't actually care about it. They want to use it as a bargaining chip this cycle. But there's also blame to be placed on the Biden administration themselves for delegating that to Harris, knowing she couldn't do anything. So she would be basically, she would take all the blame for their administration's failures. People really need to realize what they did with that. It was so cynical, and it was a self-preservation move by the Biden administration. What could she have done? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and arguably like one of the toughest issues. Like those of us who believe in immigration reform and like demilitarizing the border have never argued that this was an easy situation to fix. So like, giving her that is just like, oh, cool, yeah. It's like giving Jared Kushner the Middle East crisis, or like Israel-Palestine, like tight, and even worse than that. So you're absolutely right, especially when Biden himself largely continued Trump's border policies.
When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?